Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So welcome back to Journey of Self-Discovery. Today is again another fortunate day for all of us that Maharaj, HH Devamrita Swami Maharaj is here. He has been blessing us multiple times every year now. So we are very fortunate and we are very grateful towards him. I think most of you have heard previous lectures, but just a very quick introduction. So you all have heard Maharaj's very logical presentation of very complicated topics, and he takes some stories from Srimad Bhagavatam. At least in the past few times we have seen that Maharaj has taken few stories from Srimad Bhagavatam and then given us very wonderful teachings from it. So today as well, Maharaj has selected a very interesting topic, the joy of Narad Muni's agitating Kamsa. So it's a paradox. So joy and agitation both is going to be there. So we'll see what teaching Maharaj is going to give us through that topic. So Maharaj is on this path of Bhakti Yoga for more than 45 years. And generally when we read Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, we only get the theoretical knowledge out of it. But when Maharaj is going to speak, and when in the past as well we have seen, we have got realized knowledge. The knowledge from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, he has applied in his own life, and through his own realizations, he is teaching us this subject matter. The most important part is also that Maharaj is an initiating spiritual master. He is a Diksha Guru. In a few weeks before, we have been talking about the importance of a spiritual master, what is Diksha, what is initiation. So Maharaj is one of the spiritual masters who is initiating here in Wellington. So if anyone is interested and who is following the principles that we talked about at that point, they can contact Maharaj. He is also the governing body commission, GBC, who is responsible for managing the International Society for Krishna Consciousness here in New Zealand and in Australia. He has written 3 books, Searching for Vedic India, Perfect Escape, and Hiding in Unnatural Happiness. And as I mentioned before, today Maharaj is going to talk about from Srimad Bhagavatam. The topic is the joy of Narad Muni's agitating Kamsa. So please welcome Maharaj with loudly chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So thank you very much, Maharaj, for coming. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Jai Shubham Sabharaj Kachaya Sima A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki
Jai.
Jai Om Vishnubham Sabharaj Kachaya Astatara Satasi Sima Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki
Jai.
Gaur Premanandi
Hari Hari Bol.
Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanam Jana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. The topic of Narada Muni's agitating King Kamsa. How can it be joyful when you look at the result? But this Leela has two different ways of looking at it. The immediate and the long range. To fully grasp this Leela of Narada Muni's tipping off Kamsa, revealing everything that had happened. To really understand this, we have to go further back in Krishna's Leela. To the actual birth of Krishna. Of course, Krishna is unborn, and we are also unborn. We share that quality with Krishna. For the soul, there is no birth or death. As Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, Najayate mriyate va kadachin. We are Aja, unborn, and Krishna is also Aja. But Krishna never takes a material body. Whereas we are spirit soul, but turning away from Krishna, we have accepted bodies of matter in material nature. That never happens to Krishna. But because we are so tiny, we have become overwhelmed by the illusory energy. Krishna never becomes overwhelmed by his own energy. He's Mahesh, the master of Maya. We should be fully aware that we're unborn, just as Krishna is unborn. But due to the spell of the illusory energy, we've forgotten. So not only do we identify with the body as the self, but we pursue material goals. That's so important. This is all because we are bewitched bewildered, under the spell, like a sorcerer or an evil witch puts you under a spell. So we're under the spell of Krishna's illusory energy. And we've forgotten we are spirit soul, independent of matter. You all know how Vasudeva, Krishna's father in Mathura, transported Krishna to Braj, the Braj Bhumi area in general. By the arrangement of Yoga Maya, Krishna's internal potency, the chains and shackles fell off of Vasudeva. The huge, massive wooden doors that were bolted so heavily, making a prison, they all swung open. And by the arrangement of Yoga Maya, the Lord's internal potency, all the guards were asleep. Most specifically, or more technically, their senses became inoperable. Because Krishna is Rishikesh, the master of the senses. If he wants you to perceive, you perceive. If he doesn't, your senses don't operate. So Vasudev's exit from the palace prison with Krishna. He's carrying Krishna in a small cloth-lined box. Some say he put the box on his head, others say he held it to his chest. And then he had to cross the Yamuna. Another name for the Yamuna River is Yamanuja, because Yamuna personified is the younger sister of Yamaraj. So in crossing Yamanuja, the waves were strong. There was rain falling mildly, but Anantanag, the divine serpent carrier of Vishnu, came behind Vasudeva and spread his hoods over Vasudeva and the child so Krishna would not get wet. It was Indra who was making the Yamuna so turbulent and sending the rain, because he wanted to create a cover for Krishna's exit. This time, Indra's cooperating with his abilities. As you know, in Govardhan Lila, he's not so cooperative. Now he's cooperating. So you know how Krishna was there with Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya. And then Vasudeva brought back the girl who had been born to Yashoda Maya. So that girl is Krishna's younger sister. So Vasudeva, by the arrangement of Yogamaya, re-entered the palace prison, shackled himself as if nothing happened. And then the guards called Kamsa. They wanted to wake him up. The 8th child of Devaki has been born. Of course, they really didn't have to wake up Kamsa. He was awake all night. As soon as he heard from the guards that Devaki's 8th child was born, he immediately flew into a tizzy of activity. His hair was scattered, indicating he was very distraught. And he announced, Kala is here. Time has come. That gives me two options. Either time kills me, or I have to kill this child presented by time. So he raced to the prison room where Devaki had given birth. Devaki pleaded with him, even though it wasn't her child. Why did Devaki plead so intensely? Number one, she wanted to stop her brother Kamsa from committing such a sinful activity of killing a baby girl. He had already killed so many of her sons, but still Devaki's thinking about his welfare. How to stop him from being even more abominable. So, her brother Kamsa was her concern. And also, Yashoda Mai was her concern. She knew this is the daughter of Yashoda Mai, although Kamsa doesn't know that. He thinks it's my daughter. I want to protect the daughter of my dear companion, Yashoda. So she pleaded with Kamsa, first using language that would make him be ashamed. Kamsa, you've already killed so many of my children. Such fine children, and you killed them all. But then she switched gears and she said, but it's not completely your fault. It's destiny. And then she switched again, because she's the wife of a Kshatriya, so she knows how to wheel and deal. So, after saying, this is the way of destiny, then she pleads for his mercy. Her strategy is very important. First, denouncing him for his cruelty, then saying, oh, but it is destiny. And then pleading, please spare this daughter. I promise that she'll marry your son. She's appealing for mercy as a woman, and she's also appealing to the greed of Kamsa. This girl will marry your son. Think of your self-interest. Kamsa was not hearing any of this. Although Devaki had tried so desperately to save this girl, Kamsa was on his knees, and he grabbed the newborn infant, still wet from childbirth, grabbed her by the legs to smash her against a stone. That's how cruel. Such cruelty. Horrible. Reminds me of one story, true story, one of my godbrothers told me about his father, who was in the American Army near the end of World War II. And they were liberating the territories formerly conquered by the Nazis. They were freeing the concentration camps. Naturally, people suffering in those occupied areas where the Nazis had been were so glad to see their liberators. But in one village, they noticed all the women are crying. The soldiers couldn't understand. Everywhere we go, everyone's so happy to see us. We are saving them. We're setting them free from the monsters. So they asked, why is every woman in this village crying? And then they heard a horrible truth. That as the Nazi SS troops, the concentration camp staff, as they were fleeing, abandoning their posts, because the war was about to end, as a last atrocity, they gathered all the women in the area who had newborn infants, and they grabbed the infants, and it's horrible. They threw the infants in the air so they would come down and land on the soldiers' bayonets. So when this devotee's father, who was Jewish, he saw that, he said, there is no God. How could a God allow this to happen? Innocent babes slaughtered in such an abominable way. So he became an atheist after that. Notice he did not blame himself for coming to the material world. He blames God. But Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Tukali Amar Shashvatam, this material world is temporary and miserable. But we don't believe that. We think it's Sukhalayam, the place of happiness. So therefore we get angry. Oh God, how could you allow this to happen in Sukhalayam, the place of happiness? We don't remember that Krishna says, sorry, Tukhalayam. So Kamsa was even more ferocious. He tried to smash the newborn baby girl against the wall, stone wall. But, as you know, she flew out of his hands into the air, revealing 8-armed form as Durga Devi. Kamsa was astonished. Now notice, he could not see Yogamaya. He saw the subdivision of Yogamaya known as Mahamaya, or Durga Devi. Yogamaya is for spiritual pastimes. But the branch or department of Yogamaya that supervises the demons, non-devotees, is Mahamaya, Durga. Maybe some of you come from part of India where Durga worship is popular. She's the supervisor of the material energy. Her very name tells you what the situation is. Did you know that? Dur means difficult, Ga means progress. You're going to have a tough time. But everyone forgets that. And, well, let us worship Durga. So, she flew up into the air, revealing her 8-armed form, and then chastised Kamsa. You're such a fool. The child who is going to kill you is elsewhere. Stop trying to commit even more atrocities. So what was Kamsa's reaction? Oh my God. Devaki has given birth to Durga. Because generally, demons like Kamsa, they acknowledge Durga Devi because you get material benefit. So he was, to say the least, so impressed. I never knew Devaki's glory. She has given birth to Durga Devi. So he immediately began to ask forgiveness from Devaki. I have done such horrible things. There's no punishment appropriate enough for me. But please notice, Devaki, that everything is done according to destiny. So actually, I'm not the killer. I am the immediate cause, but the remote cause is karma, destiny. He spoke that to Vasudeva and Devaki. And they were pleased by his words. He spoke Jnana. He spoke about how, just like cooking utensils are made from the earth, and then they disintegrate and go back to the earth. Similarly, these bodies are like that. So he's speaking Jnana knowledge. So Vasudeva and Devaki appreciated all that. He was speaking truthfully. And Vasudeva told him that. What you have said is true. Destiny is the ultimate cause. The body must be finished today or tomorrow. So you might wonder, how could Vasudeva and Devaki forgive such a terrorist? You can ask any mother here, if someone killed 6 of your boys, you're going to be so forgiving? So why, I'm sure you may have wondered, why did Vasudeva and Devaki be swayed by what Kamsa was saying and even be forgiving and forgetting? Well, you have to understand that these are extraordinary personalities. They, first of all, knew that what Kamsa was saying was correct. But there's also an underlying reason. They're Kshatriyas, you know, they're very tactful, strategic. Yes, Kamsa, you're speaking Jnana. We accept your presentation about the spirit, soul, the body. What is the ultimate doer? What's the immediate doer? We accept all that. And we're also satisfied knowing that the child who's going to kill you is somewhere else. They're Kshatriyas. So you're speaking intelligently, and also we know you're going to be dead. So we forgive you. But they were sincere about their forgiveness. It's hard to understand that, because they are extraordinary personalities who are able to handle 2 contradictory points. So they weren't faking when they said, oh, you're very impressed with what you said. That's true. And simultaneously, it's also true that they knew you're finished sooner or later. So Kamsa released them from prison, and then he went back to his quarters that night. What happened then? A sadhu sangha. The association of those who are asadhu, those who are opposite of what a sadhu is. When Kamsa's associates heard what he had done, they were upset. They didn't want any compromise. And Kamsa's associates were these demons that you read about, who attacked Braj. They could assume any form that they liked. Kama Rupa. They had that ability. So In the future, you'll see how they assume so many different forms to attack Krishna and Balaram. But we haven't gotten that far yet. Right now, they're hearing from Kamsa that he had become peaceful. And they were very upset. So they explained to Kamsa, the demigods are your enemies. This child who has taken birth somewhere else is going to be allied with the devas. You see, they were baffled, especially Kamsa. How could the prophecy, the omen, be untrue? I heard the voice from the sky say the eighth child of Devaki will be a boy that will kill me. Even the omens, you can't rely on them these days. What's going on? All right, so be it. So Kamsa's associates and him were acting on the premise that the child is somewhere else, born somewhere else. After all, who said it? Who told them that? Durga Devi. Of course, devotees know that Durga Devi is a cheater. She offers material allurements and promises, and you're never satisfied. So she's just being her normal self. Making propositions and proposals that never reach fulfillment. So Kamsa and his associates accepted. She said, the child is born somewhere else. There's one thing we must do. We're going to be proactive. We're going to go after Vishnu directly and indirectly. Directly by ordering that any child who's taken birth in roughly, more or less, the past 10 days in this whole area should be killed. This whole Mathura, Brajamandal should be killed. But that's not all. We have to adopt indirect means. Because the root of Vishnu is the brahmanas, the demigods, the saintly persons. We have to attack them. Because it's difficult to kill Vishnu. He's always hiding. So how did they say that Vishnu is hiding? He's buried in everyone's hearts. He can't come out. So you can't find him. It's very difficult. But if we kill the brahmanas, the cows, the saintly persons, that's as good as killing Vishnu. Because these other components are essential factors of Vishnu's existence. Not only will we kill cows, brahmanas, saintly persons, but we'll also destroy truthfulness. We'll destroy austerity, all the good qualities. We're going to destroy that. And by doing so, it'll be impossible for Vishnu or the brahmanas to exist. And that's as good as killing Vishnu. So you see, they're adopting the same program that atheistic demoniac governments would adopt. And they weren't worried about the demigods. Why? Vishnu is buried in everyone's heart. Where is Shiva? He's somewhere in the forest. Deep in the forest. Where is Brahma? He's doing meditation and austerity somewhere. So the coast is clear. We've got a clear shot. And as far as the demigods, they told Kamsa, you know, the devas, they're so afraid of you. They said, Kamsa, all you have to do is make the sound of twanging your bow, not even shooting an arrow, just pull your bowstring and the demigods flee. We know this. Now it's a fact. The Shastra explains that Kamsa was so powerful he had defeated the demigods. He had even defeated Indra. So his advisors reminded him, the demigods, they have wounds in the back from your arrows because they've been fleeing. They're not fighting like real Kshatriyas, like they're running away. That's why they have wounds in the back. Either they flee, or they come before you, trembling with fear, begging for mercy. And Kamsa, you are so proper that you don't kill the demigods when they surrender to you. But now is not the time for following the codes of battle. Now you have to adopt drastic actions. No battlefield etiquette, no Kshatriya code of honor, nothing. Kill all the babies born in the past 10 days. Kill all the cows, all the saintly persons, all the brahmanas. Stop all the Vedic yajnas. And by killing the cows, there won't be any ghee, so no yajnas. Without yajnas, no Vishnu. Vishnu's got nothing to eat. So we'll adopt an all-around program, direct, indirect. Get rid of Vishnu. So Kamsa is showing you that you can be changed by your association. Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Kor. Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hor. Just a moment's association with a sadhu can give you the perfection of life. And similarly, just a moment's association with a materialistic person can destroy your good fortune of having a human form of life. So that's what Kamsa's associates, his demonic advisors, are showing you. They changed Kamsa's mind so quickly. So then what happened? We move ahead 11 years because Krishna is to spend 11 years in Braj. And then it's time for him to go to Mathura or Dwarka. Of course, as Rupa Goswami explains, Krishna never takes a step out of Vrindavan. But to the external vision, he'll be gone from Vrindavan. So how can that be accomplished? Narada Muni joyfully will accelerate the Leelas. Krishna has just killed Arishtasura, the bull demon. And then Narada Muni appears. Because Narada Muni knows it's time for Krishna to leave Vrindavan. Would you call Narada Muni cruel? See, Narada Muni understands how Krishna's Leela works. That actually the Leelas are eternal, but sometimes they're visible to ordinary vision and sometimes not. So it's time for the uppercut Leela, the unmanifest Leela. So that's why Narada Muni is going to go to Kamsa and tell him everything. Which you would think is like treason. But Narada Muni knows, I'm doing Krishna's will. The Yadus are suffering in Mathura. Krishna's parents, Vasudeva and Devaki, they're suffering in Mathura. It's time for Krishna to leave Vrindavan. So to speed that up, to facilitate that, Narada Muni tells Kamsa everything. And notice how Kamsa trusts Narada Muni. Narada tells him, number one, Kamsa, Krishna is indeed the son of Devaki. The 8th child of Devaki was just as the omen said. Ah, that enraged Kamsa. I've been lied to. Even Durga Devi has lied to me. Durga Devi will always teach you. I like how Srila Prabhupada once explained how Durga Devi or Maya Devi operates. He gave the example of a mother and her infant. Mother Durga says to her devotee, please, come lay your head on my lap and go to sleep. And as soon as you lay your head on her lap, she cuts your head off. And then convinces you, try again. There was some slight mistake. Don't give up. There's Maya. So Kamsa was enraged. You can't even believe Durga Devi these days. And then Narada Muni told him that, yes, the 8th child was Krishna. He's in Vrindavan with Balaram, and they have killed all the persons you sent there. All the demons you sent there, they've been killed by Krishna and Balaram. He's really getting under Kamsa's skin, so to speak. All these great wizards, these great demonic associates of yours, they've all been killed by that 8th child. Furthermore, and Narada Muni, the Acharyas say, is telling Kamsa this particular point so that he wins Kamsa's trust completely. He says, furthermore, let me inform you, Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva are very close friends. They're in collusion together. Kamsa is so angry. What does he do? Even though Vasudeva is not there, he reaches for his sword. Okay, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him. What does Narada Muni do then? He's very skillful. He's very expert. Wait, Kamsa. Why do you want to kill Vasudeva? He's not the real target for you. The real target for you are his sons, Krishna and Balaram. Let's keep focused now. Let's keep our eye on the target here. And then Narada Muni gave Kamsa a very strategic reason why not to kill Vasudeva. If you kill Vasudeva, the word will get back. Nanda Maharaj will find out. He'll tell the 2 boys and they'll flee. And you don't want that. What you want to do is what? You want to attract the 2 boys to Mathura so you can kill them. But if you kill Vasudeva, they'll be alerted. The news will get to them and you'll lose them. They'll flee and you won't have dealt with the threat. The threat will just continue. So he said, better you imprison Vasudeva and Devaki on some kind of false charges. Anything, doesn't matter. And that will bring Krishna and Balaram to Mathura to save them. And then you can do what you like with them. So Narada Muni's advice was accepted by Kamsa. Yes, that's a good point. Why should I kill Vasudeva when it's the boys. And I don't want the boys fleeing. I want to attract them to Mathura so I can finally deal with them. So in this way, Narada Muni created joy for the Yanus. He created joy for Vasudeva and Devaki. Later in Bhagavatam, Vasudeva and Devaki will thank Narada Muni. Thank you for doing that. You hastened Kamsa's death. You set him up. Thank you. It seemed like, from the immediate point of view, it seemed like we were suffering because of what you told Kamsa. But no, that's all right. Look at the result. The result is Kamsa's dead and we are reunited with Krishna. So in this way, we're learning how to consider more than just the immediate situation. We have to look at the medium range and the long range too. So then Narada Muni departed. What did Kamsa do? He did just as Narada Muni advised. He imprisoned Vasudeva and Devaki. He didn't kill them. But he did deviate a bit from Narada's instructions. And therefore he waited till Narada was out of sight. And then he said, okay, Keshi, go to Vrindavan. He wasn't supposed to do that. He was just supposed to attract Krishna to Mathura. But he's making one last try. Keshi, to Vrindavan. As the Shastra explains, he's actually sending the Keshi demon to his death. And then he calls for his demonic associates. They were actually his ministers, although they were also wrestlers. Chanura, Mushtika, Pralamba, all the famous demons. They were actually Kamsa's ministers. So he then makes plans how to attract Krishna and Balaram to Mathura by way of a wrestling match and the elephant Kuvalayapida. You see, it was normal for a king to have elephants by the gate. So Kamsa had ordered a big wrestling arena to be built with a narrow gate, and right by the gate would be the royal elephants. That was a normal situation. So as you know, Kamsa's plan was that number one, the elephants kill Krishna and Balaram, or number two, they severely weaken Krishna and Balaram in a fight, so that when Krishna and Balaram start to wrestle, they'll easily be defeated by Chanura and Mushtika. Kamsa thought he had it all figured out. So he's thinking, if by chance Krishna and Balaram get past Kuvalayapida in one piece, then the wrestlers will finish them. So now he had another way of luring Krishna and Balaram to Mathura. The first way is by imprisoning Vasudeva and Devaki. He thinks now their sons will come to liberate them. And secondly, the wrestling match. Thirdly, I will send a Krura to Vrindavan to bring them. And a Krura will go on a brand new chariot. So Kamsa called in Akrura and said, Akrura, I have a very special task for you. Of course, Akrura was very happy to hear that he was being sent to Vrindavan to gain the audience of Krishna and Balaram. So Kamsa told him, Akrura, I have no better friend in the Yadu dynasty than you. I'm taking shelter of you. Just like the demigods take shelter of Vishnu. Here is a brand new chariot. I want you to drive it to Vrindavan and bring back Krishna and Balaram. And I have a plan. When they get to Mathura, there'll be the elephant, Kuvalayapita, there'll be the wrestlers. They'll be killed. And then I'll kill my father, Ugrasena. I'll finish off the Yadu dynasty. And in a full expression of demoniac nature, he said, it'll be so pleasant to rule the world without any obstruction. That's the goal of the conditioned soul, to be the Ishwar. So what was Kamsa thinking in this strategy? He wanted Akrura to take a brand new Mercedes-like chariot. Because he thought Vaishnavas are simple-minded. They're very fickle. They're like children. You give them some sweet and you can get them to do whatever you want. So he's saying to Akrura, here's the brand new Mercedes chariot. Wouldn't you like to drive it? Aren't you impressed? The acharyas explained this. You would do anything to ride on this brand new chariot, wouldn't you? You get the prestige, the delight. But here, take that Mercedes chariot. Go to Vrindavan, pick up Krishna Balaram. And Akrura was happy to do that. Why? His vision was different. Akrura is thinking, I'm so glad you've given a brand new chariot for me to accomplish this mission, because I wouldn't want to take any chariot that had already been ridden on by a demon like you. So you see, there's just two different ways of looking at the situation. Kamsa's thinking Akrura's a simple Vaishnava, not materially expert, like a real materialist. And Akrura's thinking, I'm glad to drive a brand new chariot so that Krishna Balaram can sit on an unblemished seat. And Akrura then told him the truth. Kamsa, I heard your plans. They are excellent. Nevertheless, although your plans are brilliant, I have to tell you that the way the material energy works, even the most brilliant plans fail. But anyway, I'll do what you say. So this is what Narada Muni joyfully set into motion. His name, Narada Muni's name, is Devadarshan. That has many different meanings, all correct. Devadarshan, the one who by seeing him, it's as good as seeing God. Devadarshan. Or the one who only godly persons can see. Or the one who sees Krishna Leela, Devadarshan. So all those meanings of Narada Muni's title are correct. So therefore, although on the one hand he seemed to have caused such havoc, on the other hand, he's blissfully in pure devotion, serving in Krishna Leela. All while Kamsa is so agitated and violent and doing so many abominable things. So that is the paradox, as Ambarish Maharaj was hinting at. On the one hand, you have total abomination. On the other hand, the total blissfulness of Krishna Leela. All right, any questions? Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the lecture. Maharaj,
Maharaj, in sorry, you mentioned Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. Even though he is going to Mathura, he is just going, but he never leaves Vrindavan. So, is that the same vision that gopis also have? They were they able to see Krishna present?
Krishna is there in his bhava presence, a presence brought about by love. But for the sake of enhancing their love of Krishna, it seems like Krishna is gone, but their love and remembrance of him brings Krishna there. It's the mystery of bhakti. Such a deep mystery that Krishna himself wants to explore it. So he comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to find out what is this love of me in separation. So that leads to the mystery of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have read Chaitanya Charitamrita? Oh. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that if you haven't properly read Chaitanya Charitamrita, then you don't understand Bhagavatam. Because Chaitanya Charitamrita is actually Bhagavatam. It's full of Bhagavatam verses. And it shows the pinnacle of Bhagavatam, love of Krishna and separation. Just like what the gopis were experiencing. Krishna as Lord Chaitanya comes to experience the highest love. Everyone's quiet tonight. Yes?
You mentioned that Krishna, he says that the material world is dukkhala, sad. But in the Bhagavad Gita, he also mentions how to live happily in the world.
How what?
How to live in the world and be happy.
How?
By doing yajna.
Mm-hmm.
By performing yajna.
Yes.
So if we're happy, then should we feel like we're doing something wrong?
Well, look at your situation. You've moved into you're newly married, you've moved into your new house. Fitting out the new house. Making plans for family expansion. So, shall we tell you, please be miserable? So you may remember one situation I was in. It was a house yajna for a Grihastha family in Perth, Australia, that had just moved into a new house, and so they were doing a yajna. You do that? And so I was there, and my godbrother Borijan Prabhu was there, householder. And so I was discussing with him, what should I say as a sannyasi? Now you are in your new house, please enjoy it. Obviously the householder couple, they want happiness. At the same time, there's something higher than material happiness. We want them to have the happiness of serving Krishna for Krishna's pleasure. So we came up with a good mantra, which I presented. I gave the blessing that may you be as happy as you can be in a world where there's no happiness. That got me off the hook. So I remember they looked at me like, be as happy as you can be in a world where there's no happiness. What do you think? So yes, be that. Be as happy as you can be in your new house in Upper Hutt, in a world where there's no happiness. What do you think?
I don't understand. Fully.
Well, by the time you are 60, you'll understand. You're still in the honeymoon phase. The newlywed phase. You can talk to the older ladies here, they'll explain. Now, you have done nicely. You started your bhakti when you were how old when I first met you?
17.
17 in Toronto. So, that's wonderful. We want happy householder couples. At the same time, this world is not a place of happiness, so you have to manage that paradox. By engaging in Krishna's service, by keeping Krishna in the center. Then you can see this mystic art of bhakti, how to be happy in a world where there's no happiness. Anything else? Yeah?
Thank you, Maharaj, for a wonderful class, as usual. Maharaj, this Narad Muni is going and giving this news. At least in this situation, as you explained, it became a little bit palatable. But
I'm sorry?
little bit understandable and palatable to understand why he went and gave that news. But in the beginning of the 10th canto, when Kamsa had allowed the children to be not like in the beginning when the first child was born, and Vasudeva took it to Kamsa to kill. Kamsa said that, okay, I don't have anything to do with this first, I have to only kill the eighth child. And he allowed them to go. But Narad Muni came and gave this news to him that, oh, how can you do that? And he is your enemy. And then Kamsa decides to kill them all. So that part is very difficult to digest. That when Kamsa was okay for these first 7 to live, because of Narad Muni's telling that to him, he killed them all.
Narada Muni and Vasudeva wanted the 8th child to hurry up and be born. Otherwise, you could blame Vasudeva for having one child after another. Why did he have children? Think about that. But Vasudeva wanted, let's hurry up and get to number 8. That's his role in the Leela. And Narada Muni is encouraging Kamsa's death. Come on, you're an asura. Commit atrocities. You see, to understand Krishna Leela, you cannot be on the bodily platform. Otherwise you can be bewildered, even thinking Krishna is an ordinary human being. Yeah?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. In the session you have mentioned that we have to have a vision to see the immediate and long term. And then sometimes what we see that like vision that we have, and sometimes it fails. And do we
Sometimes
accept
what? I'm sorry?
the vision that we think that it will happen, this will happen something, it will fail.
Fails.
So when our plans fail, do we take that as it's Krishna's plan that it's happening the other way?
Ultimately, everything is controlled by Krishna. But to be able to see how much is our own mistake and our own foolishness, and how much is Krishna's desire, that takes advanced vision. And that's one reason why we have a guru, to help us see what is Krishna's plan and what is our own idea. What I am explaining to you is the vision of the Acharyas, the vision of Shukadeva Goswami. They can see what is Krishna's will and what is otherwise. So similarly in your daily life, guidance is always necessary. Bhakti requires guidance, as I so often explain. The real wealth of bhakti is guidance. The more guidance you have, the more wealth you have. Real wealth, spiritual wealth. Otherwise, it is true, it's very tricky living in the material world, trying to be Krishna conscious. But Krishna makes it easy for us by offering us so much guidance, so much knowledge. And then He's in your heart. And when you become qualified to hear Krishna in the heart, He gives you customized instruction. Otherwise, He's already speaking to you in Bhagavad Gita. So the more guidance you can surround yourself with, the more opulent your life will be. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. When you were saying, when Devaki told Kamsa that whatever you did, first she said a different reason, and she said it's because of your destiny, what you have done, whatever bad you have done.
She agreed with Kamsa when he said that.
Yeah. So, but why did she agree? Like, is it, if everything is...
Why, what?
Why did she agree with that?
It's true.
Is it everything happening because of destiny? So where is the free will for us to implement?
No, she's referring to the remote cause. Kamsa admitted, I am the immediate cause, and I will suffer because of that. There's two. There's the immediate cause and the remote cause.
So was there a chance for him to change at all?
No. No. And he showed that the same night.
So that's based on his destiny.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on his destiny, whatever he did.
He's a demon. You can't rely on someone who can't control their senses.
But there are chances like demons can also change.
That is the activity of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. In this darkest age, the age of Kali, they are, Krishna and Balaram, coming not to kill the demons, but to kill their demoniac propensity.
Thank you very much for a very nice lecture. We can visualize the Krishna's pastimes. I have a basic question to you, Maharaj. You say that demigods are scared of Kamsa because he might kill them. And even this is the same thing when even for Hiranyakashipu's case also. Whenever
The same thing as?
happened when Hiranyakashipu's case also. So
Yes.
So demigods are always scared of their lives because they have nectar. I mean, they already took nectar.
This shows you that even in the heavenly planets, there's anxiety, there are problems. And sometimes the asuras become super powerful. It happens. Not permanently, but sometimes there are these special victories by the asuras. So yes, the Shastra says that Kamsa had defeated the demigods, he had defeated Indra, but it doesn't last for long. Still, it's a disturbance. Therefore Krishna says, Abrahma Bhuvanaloka Punarvachino Arjuna. From the highest planet down to the lowest, all are places of misery. Remember, from the highest down to the lowest. Even the demigods, they have to die, they have anxieties. Although their material enjoyment is thousands of times better than what is available on earth. It still comes to an end.
Because, yeah, okay, they also have to die, but they will be having more spiritual knowledge than the people who are living in this material world like that. But
They have more spiritual knowledge, but also the atmosphere of enjoyment is much more intense. That's why in the 5th canto of Bhagavatam, the demigods are praying, we would rather take birth as human beings on earth. Because it's very difficult to go back to Godhead from the heavenly planets. Because the material enjoyment is so intense, you easily get lost in that. So you were reading the 5th canto, they're praying. If we have any pious activities left in our account, let us take birth on earth, and particularly let us take birth in Bharat. Of course, now, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, Srila Prabhupada, anyone in any part of the world can take to Krishna seva.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for your lecture. I just wanted to know, Maharaj, I don't know whether it's a foolish question or not. As Kamsa, when the 8th child was Durga, when she appeared, I just wanted to know the previous 7 child, were they demigods or the brothers?
The 7th one was Balaram, transferred to the womb of Rohini. The 6 others, there's a story that they did something inappropriate in a previous birth, and so they're getting their just result.
So are there any stories in Bhagavatam?
Yes, you can read in the notes of that chapter in Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada has given notes in the back of the chapter, and you'll find it there. Why these 6 sons met such a destiny. Otherwise, you're thinking it could be some injustice, right? No. Everyone gets their perfect results. Yes.
Maharaj, a simple question, Maharaj. So, in this story, Kamsa knows that he is going to kill by Krishna. He knows very much aware. And in spite of that, he, instead of Krishna approaching him to kill, he approaches Krishna. He nearer to his death only. So, he can't refrain himself to approaching to Krishna.
He what?
He is unable to stop himself to approach Krishna. So, what I'm trying to say is, he knows that he is going to kill by Krishna. Kamsa. Yeah. But in spite of knowing that, he himself approaches Krishna and near to his death. That's how I can say. How we can say that? And on top of that, my question is,
He actually never approached Krishna. he sent his agents. And Krishna finished off all his agents. And then in the wrestling arena, Krishna himself approached Kamsa and finished him.
So on top of that, my question is, sometimes he knows that, sometimes we know that we should not do this. If we do this, it will backfire on us. But in spite of that, in this material world, still we will be going ahead and we will be getting the back to us. So in those scenarios, how we need to refrain ourselves not to do those activities.
As Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, Yashastra Vidin Utsrija Vartate Kama Karma Nasa Siddha Bhavatnoti Asukala Palamati. You know, but still we act in violation of the Shastra. Therefore, we can't even get ordinary happiness, what to speak of the supreme destination. So we whimsically, rebelliously leave aside the Shastra. We misuse our independence, our little independence. We have that choice. Do you have any children? How old are they?
One is 11 years.
7 and?
No, 3 years and 11 years.
3 and 11. So when the 11-year-old becomes a teenager, the 11-year-old may decide not to do what you say. Although you have taken such nice care of your children, I'm sure we can assume. But the child has the independence. No, you don't know what you're talking about. I want to live the Kiwi life. So you've given all the best facilities and all the best training, but because the child has independence, the child can choose not to listen. So that's what we do to Krishna. Father? So you have some briefly. So Ambarish Maharaj Prabhu has asked that we hear something about the importance of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the graduate study to Bhagavad Gita. Just like you have undergraduate and then graduate. So undergraduate study is Bhagavad Gita. Graduate study is Srimad Bhagavatam, and postgraduate study is Sri Dhanajaradhamma. So everyone should have all these books in their home, because that is having the literary presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in your home. So I'm sure that all of you have all these sets of Srila Prabhupada's books in your house. Just like at our urban outreach center, the Bhakti Lounge, all the Kiwi devotees, they all have Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita in their home. And they read them 2 hours a day. Right, Sankirtan Yoga, Devi Dasi? So, certainly, you all should be leading the way and having these books in your home. In your home, there's some furniture, yes? Big screen TV? No. All that's there. Similarly, the books should be there. The full set of Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. That is the real treasure. And your children will grow up in the presence of such literature. Maybe they won't read for some time these books, but at some point in their life they'll remember. My father and mother always had these books. My mother told me when I was a little baby, I would always crawl on the floor to the bookshelf to try to pull down books. Unfortunately, there was no Srimad Bhagavatam there. But you had that opportunity. So please do that for yourself, for your family.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. So let's show our gratitude for Maharaj's wonderful class by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra loudly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So as Maharaj was mentioning that these books or the scriptures are Krishna himself. So there are few fortunate souls who are going to take Krishna home. Now, Krishna can be only given by those who have Krishna. So that is why we require the book Bhagavata to be received from a person Bhagavata. So today was a very appropriate day when Maharaj is here amongst us. So we wanted to actually distribute these sets through the hands of Maharaj. So there are few devotees who have bought these sets. So we will request them one by one. So actually before we do that, there was a small story that I had heard from Maharaj himself in one of the classes. I'm not as good a orator as Maharaj, but this was about the publishing of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Maharaj, do you want to
It's a long story. Next time.
So Maharaj has himself contributed towards printing of these books. So there were many devotees, including Maharaj, when Srila Prabhupada gave this challenge of catching up with Srila Prabhupada's writing and publishing this entire set in how many months, Maharaj? 3 months?
17 books, 2 months.
17 books to be published in 2 months. That includes all the typesetting, the pictures and everything to be done in 2 months. And these devotees work day and night. There was no sleep, and they will work even in shifts. So when somebody is doing the painting, then next person will name, next artist will come and continue the painting from there. And whatever service, they just work day and night. And Srila Prabhupada was so pleased by their effort. I think he gave a very wonderful blessings to all the devotees who were involved. I would like to hear from Maharaj's own words. What was that blessing, Maharaj?
He wanted 17 books in 2 months, and he gave as the deadline his Vyasa Puja ceremony. He would be in Vrindavan, the Krishna Balaram Mandir. So the final book was done the day before, but the book was printed in the USA at the time. And so the devotee who was bringing the book to him had to fly with the book, the advanced copy, first off the press, fly from US to India, to Delhi, and then get a taxi, go to Vrindavan Krishna Balaram Mandir. So the devotee arrived at the Mandir, and Prabhupada had already got off the Vyasa-san from the Vyasa Puja ceremony and was walking to his quarters. And he entered his quarters, and then the devotee emerged behind him triumphantly. You can imagine how the devotee was feeling. We did it! We did it! Amazing, inconceivable. It was like someone saying to you, there must be a new temple built by you here in 2 months for the same thing. We would just, if your guru had told you that, you would just, what would you do? And then disappear. So, the devotee was feeling triumphant. Prabhupada, here's the final volume. By your mercy, we've done it. Prabhupada just took the book without any reaction and said, you have promised before the Vyasa Puja ceremony. Now it is after. That was it. Then later that night, Prabhupada wrote his famous letter that by this service, all those involved would go back to Godhead. All right, we're at
Such a wonderful pastime. So these devotees are really, really fortunate. I can't stress this any more than what I'm doing now. That Maharaj has been personally involved in this pastime of Srila Prabhupada of printing Chaitanya Charitamrita, and he has received the blessing from Srila Prabhupada himself. So from Maharaj, directly from his hands, we are going to receive Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I'll like to request, first of all, Mantra Mulam Prabhu and Srinivasa Mataji to come. So they are taking Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita both. Of course, the sets are quite huge, so we are just, as a token, the first volumes we are distributing. Haribo! Hare Krishna!
Please read every day.
Wonderful. Now the next one, Srimad Bhagavatam, is being taken by Bharadwaj Rishi Prabhu and Anuttara Mataji. Haribo!
Hare Krishna.
The next Srimad Bhagavatam is taken by Dipti Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And then this next one, the last one, Srimad Bhagavatam said, is Srinivas Prabhu. Please come. Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Now Chaitanya Charitamrita said, the next one is Kirtivanta Prabhu. Mataji Dasuri. Anamika Mataji.
Very good.
The last one here, Chaitanya Charitamrita said, Pundarikaksha Prabhu and Sarvagya Lakshmi Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Haribo. So thank you very much. If anyone else wants to take Krishna home in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, then please contact, Parjanya Prabhu is not here today, so please contact either myself or Anangmantari or Kirtivanta Prabhu, and we can organize that.